Welcome to Meera Codes. In our previous video, we learned about all 8 primitive data types. Starting from this video, we will learn each primitive data type one by one. Let's begin with the smallest integer data type in the Java is the byte. Byte is one of the Java's primitive data types. It is used to store the whole numbers, which means numbers without the decimal points. For example, like 25, 50, 100, minus 1. So the byte data type occupies the 1 byte of memory. So 1 byte is nothing but the 8 bits. For example, I have declared the variable called as an x of a byte data type, and the value is a 25. If I want to store this value 25, the byte data type occupies 1 byte of memory. So before understanding a byte, let's first understand a bit. A computer does not understand the English decimal whole numbers directly, so it understands only the binary language. The binary has the 2 digits, that is a 0 and a 1. So one binary digit is nothing but a 1 bit. Okay, so 0 is the 1 bit, 1 is the 1 bit. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. For example, here you can see how many bits are there. 8 bits are there. But how 8 bits? So each 0 represents the 1 bit. Each 1 represents the 1 bit. Means here we have a value 1. This is a 1 bit. 0, 1 bit. 1, 1 bit. 0, 1 bit. 1 is a 1 bit. 1 is a 1 bit. 0 is a 1 bit. 0 is a 1 bit. So totally we have the 8 bits. So this is called as a 1 byte. How many combinations can a bit have? So 1 bit can have a 2 possibilities like a 0 or a 1. It can store 0 or a 1. Here for 1 bit, the formula is like 2 raised to 1. The possibilities are 2. So this 1 represents the bit. So the total combination will be 2. Then 2 bits for 2 bits, 2 raised to 2. This exponent represents the bits. Okay, the combinations are 4. For 8 bits, 2 raised to 8, the combination is 256. Like 256 combinations of zeros and ones I can store in the 8 bits or a 1 byte. So binary representation, consider here this is an box or it is a bit in a memory. Okay, here in this bit I can store 0 or a 1. There are 2 combinations, right? Storing 0 is the one combination, storing 1 is the another combination. So there are total 2 combinations. When it comes to 2 bits, okay, here in this one box I can store 0 and a 1, right? 2 combinations. Here in another boxes I can store a 0 and a 1, right? I can store the again, how many combinations we got here in the next box? In the second box, 2. So totally four combinations, right? So I can store either 0 0, 0 1, 1 0, 1 1, right? For a 2 bits, the possible combinations are 4. So that like formula is 2 raised to 2. The exponent is like a bits, that is 2 bits. So for 8 bits, the possible combinations are 256, right? In a 250, the zeros and ones I can store in the 8 bits in a 256 base. Okay. So then what is the range? How we can calculate the range for a byte data type? So minimum is like minus 2 raised to n minus 1 and maximum is 2 raised to n minus 1 minus 1. Here n represents the number of bits. For 1 byte it is 8 bits, right? So n is 8, so minimum is minus 2 raised to n minus 1, that is minus 2 raised to 8 minus 1, that is minus 128. For maximum, 2 raised to 8 minus 1 minus 1, that is 127. The range of the byte is minus 128 to plus 127. This means, like, see here I told there are possible combinations are 256. Okay, so these 256 combinations are used to represent the values from minus 128 to plus 127. If I consider the value as 100, if I want to store the value called as 100, there will be the one combination out of 256, one combination of zeros and ones. One combination of zeros and ones will be there out of 256 to store the value called as 100. Okay. So I cannot store the out of range, like for example 200, 250 or a 300, right? I have to choose or I can store only the values in between -128 to +127. Today we learned what a bit is, what a byte is, and how the formula 2 raised to n works, and how to calculate the byte range, that is -128 to +127. In the next video, we will learn about the short data type. Thank you for watching.